and not just to live. My beloved, there are moments in life when the noise of this world grows so loud that you can no longer hear the gentle whisper within. And yet, right now, in this very moment, God says, I must speak to you immediately. Not tomorrow, not later, not when you feel ready, but now, because life is not promised to you in the next hour, and not because every breath you take is a gift, wrapped in mercy, bound in love, because the chance to turn your heart, to lift your eyes, to straighten your path, is not guaranteed in the rising of another sun. Listen carefully. Your Creator reminds you, I have not abandoned you. I am closer to you than your very breath. When you stumble, I watch. When you fall, I wait. When you call, I answer. Do not mistake silence for absence. Do not mistake delay for denial. Your prayers are never lost in the sky. They are seeds planted in divine soil, waiting for the perfect season to bloom. Yes, you have carried pain. Yes, and you have worn sorrow like a heavy garment. But remember, no storm lasts forever. Behind every night is a dawn, and behind every hardship is ease. God whispers to your soul, you were created for more than survival. You were shaped for purpose. You were made to rise again and again. Do not be afraid of failure, for even the seed must crack open before new life begins. Do not fear loneliness, for angels surround the one who remembers their Lord. Do not fear tomorrow, for tomorrow belongs to the one who created time. So, what must you do now? You must return. Return to gratitude. See the blessings in your breath, your food, your health, and return to patience. Trust that every delay hides wisdom. Return to kindness, lift another soul, and watch your own heart heal. Return to truth. Live with honesty, even when it costs, and return to remembrance. Never forget who gave you life. Beloved, this is not just a message. This is a call to awaken. God says, I must speak to you immediately. Will you rise? Will you answer? My beloved, prayers are never wasted. Not a single whisper, not a single tear, and not just to live. Not a single plea lifted from your trembling lips goes unnoticed, even when the sky seems silent, even when your heart feels heavy, and even when your words seem to vanish into the air. Know this: prayers are not lost. They are seeds. Seeds sown in the soil of the unseen. Seeds that bloom in the perfect season. You see, a farmer never sows a seed expecting fruit the very next day. He waters, he waits, he trusts the earth to do its hidden work. The seed breaks beneath the soil, and not just to live. The roots grow in silence, and only after time and patience does the plant rise, strong and ready to bear fruit. Your prayers are just like that, and not just to live. Some of them break open instantly, sprouting hope when you need it most. Others lie quietly in the unseen, gathering strength, and waiting for the perfect moment to bloom. When the blessing will not harm you, when the gift will not destroy you, when the answer will align with what is best for your soul. And the truth is, if every prayer were answered the moment you spoke it, you might carry blessings you are not yet strong enough to hold. Imagine a child crying for a knife, just to live, and he does not know that in his small hands it would harm him. But the parent, wise and loving, withholds it until the child is ready. So too are your prayers. And not just to live, the delays. They are protections. They are signs of love soap you may not yet understand. I know, sometimes you have prayed with tears burning your face, with a heart that feels like it might collapse. You have begged for healing, for provision, for peace. And perhaps the world seemed unmoved. But hear Meg, and the unseen is never still. Each cry you made has been recorded. Each plea you whispered has been received. And sometimes the answer comes in ways you did not expect. An illness that deepens your compassion, a loss that strengthens your faith, a delay that protects you from harm, and a closed door that leads you to the right one. Do not despise the waiting. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting is where your faith grows muscles. And not just to live. Waiting is where your soul learns trust. Waiting is where you discover that you thought you needed was smaller than what was being prepared for you. Consider the rain, and not just to live. It does not fall the instant clouds gather. It swells in silence, collects in the unseen sky, and then, at the right hour, it pours, nourishing the earth, filling rivers, bringing life. If the rain poured too early, the ground might not be ready. If it came too late, the crops would wither. but when it comes at the right time, and it brings abundance. That is your prayer. It may not arrive on your schedule, but it will arrive on the perfect one. So when you feel like your prayers vanish into emptiness, and not just to live, remind yourself the silence is not neglect. It is the sound of something being built for you. It is the pause before the music swells. It is the soil holding your seed, and not just to live, nurturing it until it is strong enough to break forth. And know this, sometimes prayers bloom not only in this life but in the eternal one, and not just to live. Sometimes the reward for your whispered hopes is stored in a treasure far greater than this world could ever give. A treasure without loss, without decay, without ending, and not just to give up. Do not let unanswered prayers convince you that you are unheard. You are seen. You are loved. Every prayer has weight. Every prayer has a destination. Every prayer has a purpose. Think of the moments in your past. Think of what you once begged for, and see now how life unfolded, and not just to live. Some things you could not live without are gone, and yet you live stronger, wiser, freer. Some prayers you forgot you even whispered have already been answered. And some, my beloved, are still on their way. Prayers are never wasted because prayer itself changes you, and not just to live. Each time you lift your hands, each time you bend your heart, each time you call upon the divine, you are reshaped, and not just to live. And prayer is not only about what you receive but who you become. It softens anger, it melts pride, it teaches humility, and not just to live. It connects your fragile self to a power beyond comprehension. When you pray, you are never alone. Even in the darkest nights, when no human hand reaches for you, and not just to live. Prayer connects you to the one who never sleeps, never abandons, never forgets. This is why prayer can calm you even before the answer arrives, and not just to live. Because prayer reminds your soul that it was never meant to carry the burden alone. Beloved, keep praying. Keep watering the soil with your tears. Keep planting your hopes in the unseen. Do not measure the worth of your prayer by how quickly it is answered, and not just to live, and measure by the faith it grows inside you, by the peace it leaves behind, by the connection it weaves between you and your Creator. One day, the blooms will come. Perhaps in a way so subtle you will smile and whisper, "So that's what all my waiting was for." Or perhaps in a way so overwhelming that you will fall to your knees, and not just to live, astonished at how perfectly it all came together. And even if you do not see it in this world, you will find it in a place where no prayer is ever lost, and where no hope is ever wasted, where every seed blossoms into eternal gardens. So trust the timing, trust the wisdom, trust the love behind every answer, every silence, every delay, because prayers are never wasted. They are seeds, and every seed, when planted in the soil of faith, blooms at the right time. My beloved, and not just to live, there are times when the world grows unbearably quiet. Times when your prayers echo back to you like whispers lost in the wind. Times when you look to the sky and wonder, has anyone heard me at all? And yet, in those moments of aching silence, in those long stretches where answers seem delayed, there is a truth that will never abandon you. And God is always near. Even in silence, He listens. You see, nearness is not always felt through sound. It is not always proven by words, and not just to live. Sometimes it is the very stillness that reminds you someone is there, just as you do not hear the heart beating inside your chest, yet it keeps you alive every moment. So too is God's presence. Silent, constant, sustaining. When a child sleeps in her mother's arms, she does not hear her mother speak, yet she is held. She is safe. She is loved beyond measure. In the same way, your soul rests in divine care, even when the heavens are quiet. Silence does not mean absence. Silence means listening, just to live. Have you ever poured out your heart, trembling, broken, asking for guidance, asking for relief, and yet nothing changed? You thought your words dissolved into the air, but what you could not see was that every syllable was received. Every tear was counted. Every sigh was known. The silence you felt was not rejection. It was the tender patience of one who hears beyond words, one who knows the cries you do not speak aloud. Sometimes silence is the answer itself, the answer that says, "Wait, beloved, yet trust the timing, trust my wisdom." And though your heart wrestles with waiting, you must remember, delays are often protection, pauses are often preparation. Think of the sea. From the shore it's endless, still, perhaps even unresponsive. But beneath the surface, currents are moving, tides are shifting, entire worlds are alive. So it is with your prayers. On the surface you see silence. But beneath, unseen forces are at work, aligning, shaping, and preparing blessings for the right time. God is near in your joy, whispering, be grateful. He is near in your sorrow, whispering, and not just to live, and be patient. He is near in your confusion, whispering, trust me. Even when you do not hear him, you are being heard. Even when you cannot feel him, not just to live, you are being held. Even when you think you are alone, you are surrounded. Do not mistake silence for distance. Do not measure nearness by noise. When the soul aches, not just to live, when the heart cries, when the tears fall unseen by others, know that you are never invisible. The one who formed you, who shaped your every detail, and not just to live, who knows the thoughts you hide from the world, is closer than you can imagine. There is a sweetness in knowing you are heard, even without words. And not just to live, that when you sit in the stillness of the night, too weary to speak, too broken to form sentences, your very silence is a prayer. Your very tears are a prayer. Your very breath, and not just to live, rising and falling, is a testimony that you are being sustained, that you are not forgotten. Beloved, when life grows heavy, do not think you must shout to be heard, and not just to live. A whisper is enough. A sigh is enough. A single glance of your heart toward the heavens is enough. And not just to live. The one who hears the footsteps of N in the dark is the one who hears you. And when answers seem far, do not despair. Sometimes the gift is not in the answer, and not just to live, but in the closeness prayer creates. Each time you reach out, you are reminded that you are not alone. Each time you speak, even into silence, you are training your heart to trust. And trust, my dear, is the soil where peace grows. Look back at your life. How many times did you think you were abandoned, and not just to live, only to realize later that you had been carried? How many times did you think no one heard, only to see that things worked out in ways you could never have planned? That is the nearness you must remember. You were never alone. Not then, no. Not ever. God is always near. He is near when you rise in the morning and cannot face the day, and not just to live. He is near when you lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering how to keep going. And he is near when laughter fills your room and when silence presses against your chest. His nearness is not conditional. It is eternal. Even in silence, he listens, not just to live. He listens to the words you cannot say. He listens to the questions you dare not ask. He listens to the longing in your heart that you cannot explain even to yourself. And not just to live. He listens not only to what you speak, but to what you feel, what you dream you hide. So rest, beloved, and not just to live. Rest in the knowledge that you are always in the presence of one who never turns away, never closes his ears, never abandons. And rest knowing that silence does not mean you are unheard. Rest knowing that nearness is not a feeling, but a truth, unchanging, unwavering, eternal. And not just to live. The next time you sit in quiet and feel the weight of your own solitude, remember you are not alone. You are accompanied by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. And not just to live. You are surrounded by love, even in the spaces where you hear no sound. And perhaps, just perhaps, that silence is an invitation. An invitation to lean deeper into trust. An invitation to discover that presence does not always need words. An invitation to learn that nearness is felt not in noise, but in peace. So hold on. Speak, and even if your voice shakes. Sit in silence, even if no words come. Cry, even if you cannot explain why. For in all these things you are being heard. You are being held. God is always near. Even in silence, he listens. Beloved, if you carry nothing else from this message, carry this truth: you are never unheard. You are never unseen. You are never abandoned. Every prayer you whisper, whether through words, through tears, or through silence, rises and is received. Every seed you plant in faith, and not just to, no matter how small, is being nurtured in the unseen, waiting for the perfect time to bloom. And in the waiting, in the silence, in the stillness, you are not alone. And not just to live. God is nearer to you than your own breath. He listens when you speak, and he listens when you cannot. He listens to the words, and he listens to the silence between them. So walk forward with hope. Speak your prayers with trust. Water your dreams with patience. Live with gratitude, even in the pauses, even in the waiting. Because one day, and not just to live, you will see the blossoms of every seed you planted. One day you will understand the wisdom of every silence. And on that day, and not just to live, you will know with certainty that not a single prayer was wasted, and not a single moment of your life was lived without divine nearness. Hold on, beloved. Bloom is coming, and not just to live. Pieces are coming. And until then, rest in this eternal promising prayers are never wasted, and God is always near.